Breaking news coming from football, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is going pro. Ewers threw for nearly 3,500 yards this season, with 31 touchdowns and 12 interceptions with the Longhorns, who advanced to the college football semifinals. Our draft experts ranked Ewers as the number 5 QB in this year's class and a likely day 2 pick. As for the Horns, of course, this now opens up the door for Arch Manning to likely take over and have his time to shine in Austin. But we bring the lights and the shine on to Ryan Wilson to talk more about Quinn Ewers. And Ryan, with Quinn, I feel like if you were to go back like a year ago, the hype surrounding Ewers was so high. I remember seeing mock drafts that would say, oh, my Panthers were going to take Quinn Ewers with maybe the number 1 overall pick. Now he's number 5. Where does he stand right now? And just what has happened for him to fall like that in just one season?
Yeah, Zach, the issue is basically his issue staying healthy. He's been unable to stay healthy. And we've seen that not only this season, but throughout the year. He had the high ankle sprain late this season. He had the oblique injury earlier in the season. We saw a handful of games from Arch Manning, and I think the issue with Quinn Ewers is he has the arm strength. Although we didn't see it a lot last fall, he's more mobile than perhaps he was given credit for originally. In the 2023 season, he dropped a bunch of weight, and he played a lot better in terms of light on his feet. He could make every throw, but the lack of consistency and the inability to stay on the field because of health issues are what ultimately led to the conversations that we had about maybe Quinn Ewers should return to school. You're right. He was absolutely a first-round conversation guy in the summer. He has first-round traits. But aggregate draft rankings have him 5. I have him 7. Rick and Spielman and I talked about him yesterday on With the First Pick Our Draft podcast, and there's going to be a very serious conversation. And I've talked to scouts about this. Will Howard out of Ohio State might get drafted before Quinn Ewers. So you mentioned day 2. Yeah, maybe 3rd round. He could slip into day 3. A year ago, Spencer Rattler was one of these guys who had first-round talent. And through a confluence of events and changing schools, he ended up going in the 5th round. Is Quinn Ewers a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler? That I don't know. And in part because of the inconsistency we saw this fall. I wish he would have come back, Zach. But Quinn Ewers didn't call me before he made this decision.
Yeah, we see him here behind Cam Ward, George Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart. And then you get to Ewers for the consensus rankings. You have him there at 7. That shoulder injury clearly plaguing him. Do you think from a talent perspective, does he have it in him? And to be able to convince some folks right now, or do you think we know what Quinn Ewers is and it's just a backup then really?
No, he has it in him for sure. And listen, man, one of the most difficult things to do, at least in our industry, is figure out which quarterback is going to be good and which one isn't. You talked about your Carolina Panthers. Folks gave up on Bryce Young in week 2, and now Bryce Young is playing like that first overall pick over the last month of the season. So it's going to matter. And we can have that Bryce Young conversation as well. Or even C.J. Stroud. He went to the right situation, Jaden Daniels. And then getting the most out of your ability, because at this level, everyone can do everything. It's just a matter of being the proper fit and having the confidence to go out there and make those throws. Sam Darnold is another great example of that. So Quinn Ewers can absolutely be a starting NFL quarterback. It's just that the tape is what the tape is. And in 2024, it was up and down and plagued by injury. So I liked him a lot. In fact, back in week 4 of the college football season, I went back and checked. Rick had Rick Quinn Ewers as his QB3 in this draft class, and I had him as QB4. So the talent is there. He's been behind Sharp Cheddar, and he's been behind Cam Ward, and at various points, Carson Beck during the season. Carson Beck's going back to school, transferring from Georgia to the University of Miami. And now the question with Quinn Ewers, now that he has decided to come out, can he stay healthy? And can we see the consistency that NFL teams want to see from him to guarantee that he has an opportunity to be a starter in the NFL at some point?
You mentioned the need to stay healthy, and it goes back to early October when he first suffered that AC joint injury, and likely was dealing with that maybe for the whole rest of the season. In a world where if he can fully get healthy, use this offseason, use this time to prep for the draft to get fully 100%, does that maybe change how you feel about Ewers and where he should go?
No, not really, because the question becomes, and Rick Spielman says this all the time, if you're injury prone, historically you remain injury prone. So hopefully that's not the story that Quinn Ewers has to look forward to. But if you're asking me if he's perfectly healthy and is playing at his highest level, I'm still taking Cam Ward. I'm still taking Sanders. And then the question becomes, are you going to gamble on a Jalen Milroe player who's similar in some respects to Anthony Richardson, who was a top 5 pick? Because Quinn Ewers doesn't have the athleticism or the arm strength of a Jalen.